When I was a kid, my mum used to say to me, hey, Tice, mate, there's two sides to every single story. So don't just hear one person's and assume it's the truth. Go to the other side and find out as well. And man, it's coming really handy because I've realized that mainstream media seems to have a tact of telling one particular side of the story and expecting you to believe it. Then you go anywhere else and speak to anyone else and you go, it seems as though this conversation is a little more reasonable than what I originally been told. Now, Target is at the center of one of these issues right now. And the NBC, the trusted journalists at the NBC, are reporting to us exactly what's taking place in Target, which has caused them to remove some items of clothing and also why there's been a $10 billion drop in their market cap. Let's have a look.
Back in that bag again. Whoa, yeah.
Tonight, Target, one of the nation's largest retailers, is pulling some products that celebrate Pride Month off store shelves. Citing threats to employees, the company says, given these volatile circumstances, we are making adjustments to our plans, including removing items that have been at the center of the most significant confrontational behavior.
Okay, these are like naked people in shirts.
The retailer removing LGBTQ brand Prowlin from their stores and website, whose products featured satanic themes.
I mean, Target, from what I understood, was a family-friendly place. And as long as I remember, kids have always been looked after. I remember when you used to go to the video store and there'd be a movie and it's rated G. And your mum said, okay, you can watch that one. Then you went to the video with Satan on the front and go, come on, mum, I just want to watch this one with Satan on it. She go, Tyson, that's not appropriate for a young boy. All of a sudden, we're told that, hey, this is appropriate for kids to be able to walk past. I'm not sure whether this clothing was targeted at kids or whether it was for kids or whether it was just in the vicinity of kids. But I mean, when there's kids walking through a shop like that, surely Satan has to be questioned as to whether it can be on the shelf. And the start of this issue, we're told that it was about LGBTQ rights. We were told that it's about support for them. Why on earth is there an affiliation with Satan that we're trying to tie between the two things? What is the real problem here? Is it really that people are frustrated solely at the LGBTQ conversation? Or is it that the same people who are promoting the LGBTQ conversation are also promoting ideas like Satanism and there's no such thing as gender and there's no such thing as truth and you don't need a foundation and you can just decide who you are? Is truth really a thing? Are we past truth? What is it that we're basing our life on? I think immediately you watch the first 10 seconds of this article and you go, okay, look, it seems a little deeper than just the LGBTQ stuff. Why are we talking about Satan?
Target also reportedly reviewing its adult collection of tuck-friendly swimsuits that allows trans people who have not had gender-affirming operations to conceal their private parts.
What a fun conversation that meeting would have been. I mean, the Satan stuff is a little easier. Surely you go, hey, should we have Satan on the shirt? No, maybe cut that one out. What about the one where I can tuck my willy into my jocks and push it across there so people can't see it as well? Oh, geez, that controversial too. Come on, you can't have Satan and you can't have cocks hidden. What's going on in our world?
Those items have been at the center of misinformation.
The misinformation here was that kids were being targeted with this stuff. They realized if they can threaten enough people, if they can scare enough people in real-life locations, that maybe support for the LGBTQ community will diminish among corporations.
Notice how they keep coming back to the LGBT community. I mean, we've already established it's far bigger than that. We're talking about Satan. We're talking about kids. We're talking about what is right and what is acceptable to be able to sell to our kids. Maybe the frustration's not actually at the brand, though maybe it is a frustration that the fundamental approach that you must believe this, and if you don't believe it in the way that we believe it, then you're a really bad person, is starting to get problematic. I can see the frustration from the other side as well. The truth is, this is a far bigger conversation, and the fact they keep going back to this idea that it's simply about in-store threats. I mean, it's far bigger than that. In-store threats don't lead directly to a $10 billion market cap loss. Don't you remember in the Black Lives Matter riots, there was people smashing into shops like Nike, there were people smashing into shops like Timberland, and what we quickly realized was there's no dramatic impact to the stock price here. Why is it? Why is it that some violence is accepted and not demonstrated in the marketplace, whereas something like this has taken society by the scruff of the neck and said, oh, hang on a second, something bigger is taking place here? Because the truth is, a $10 billion market cap doesn't take place based purely on some staff being threatened. Though that's not good, and those staff being threatened in any capacity anywhere is not something that I would ever recommend, the fact that there's a $10 billion market cap suggests that there's something much bigger here. Because the truth is, the marketplace, the place where people trade, the place where they put money down to say, hey, I'm going long on Target, it looks like what they're doing is really good, or I'm going to short Target here because it looks like what they're doing is really really bad. The marketplace is far more than just about facts and numbers and figures and what are they doing as a company. It's a psychology. There's a mass psychology taking place, and all of a sudden we start to realize that the society, that the people who are taking part in the trades on the New York Stock Exchange are saying, something is a little sketchy here. People aren't overly confident in the direction that Target's taking, and as a result, that's why the stock price falls. So the fact that these guys are blaming the few people who have shown violence at a store for the $10 billion market cap loss is just a blatant lie. And it sounds as though they're almost hiding behind the fact that they've realized they're going to keep losing money if they keep going in this direction. They're at a little bit of a difficult point, because if they take it down, they say, well, we can't support this anymore because it's costing us too much money. That doesn't sound good, does it? That's not what they're going for. They're going for the opposite of that. So what they have to do, rather than saying, hey, we're losing a lot of money based on the fact that people aren't happy, they have to say, no, people are violent and aggressive and we're taking this out for our own safety. Not 100% true, but it's a part of the truth.
Target is hardly the only corporation under attack. Last month, after a transgender influencer promoted Bud Light, conservative commentators and some celebrities called for a boycott. Sales slumped nearly 30%.
Now, again, I mean, we got a brief overview of what happened with Bud. We understand that Dylan Mulvaney did a paid partnership, a sponsorship, and then Bud very quickly changed their tune. When they realized that they'd been offensive to the core supporters of their brand and that those same people who held them afloat were now going to pull the rug out from under their feet, they quickly changed their tune. Don't you remember? They went from that Dylan Mulvaney ad to a cowboy ad where we're all about America and men and standing up for America. And people go, hang on a second, it just seems as though you're trying to change your tune based on the fact that you're losing a fair bit of money. They go, nah, this is what we've always been about. We've just never actually partnered up with Dylan Mulvaney. That wasn't even a proper paid partnership. Listen, money talks. Money talks. And at the very essence of what these companies are trying to do, they're trying to make money. And if they make money, they'll keep doing it. And if they don't make money, they'll stop doing it. But in the process, they've got to keep their image alive in a positive way, or how they perceive positivity, and blame it on something other than the fact they're losing a shitload of money.
I think there's this really small group who has an outsized voice at this moment in time, and it's of hate, and it's of discrimination, and it's violent.
Okay, well, we've seen this quite a lot. Now, I have no doubt that somewhere in amongst the millions of people who don't like the direction that companies like Target and Bud Light are taking, there are a couple of people that might be violent. The same is true for the other side of the fence. I remember seeing some pretty violent, in-your-face protests taking place not that long ago, and it definitely wasn't the people that this lady's talking about who were doing that particular kind of protesting. So to say it's just a small group on one side is a blatant lie, and to say that it is small is a massive underrepresentation of what is taking place. What do you make of this whole situation? Because I've got gay friends now who are saying, oh my gosh, all right, look, I'm actually a part of who these people claim to be celebrating, and even I'm against the direction that they're taking some of these things. It's not completely true that just because you disagree with a particular direction that a company takes around the subject of LGBTQ that it makes you a homophobe. That's not true, and I think most people with any sense of reason and logic are aware of that now, and yet continually we're promoted this idea that if you don't support Satan on the front of a shirt, it means you're a homophobe. It's a big leap. It's a big jump. How do you feel with it? Is Target doing the right thing? It seems as though with the direction that Target and Bud Light have taken in recent months, that it's not at all about the actual well-being of the people they claim to support, but that bottom line, that dollar impact that the company feels as a result for the stance that they've taken. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Don't forget to like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Got new videos coming out every single week. Let's continue that conversation down below.